Hey, everybody. It is the Schick Show Wednesday edition with our friend Steve Hurd. It's Steve Hurd Wednesday on Wednesday.
No.
You need about 12 that you're going to be
agree.
kick ass at.
Yep.
A good hamburger, some street tacos, some fries, onion rings, a good pretzel, like a Bavarian pretzel, Big Mama Hama Jama with some
Yeah.
cheese,
I'm already in.
right?
We should start
This
this.
is not that difficult.
No. And a salad. You got to have a good
Yeah,
salad.
yeah. And heck, even then, your tacos could be a tacos. You know what I'm saying? Like, it does not have to be difficult. It does not
No.
make it simple.
I
Keep it
agree.
very simple. Keep it very clean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Have some procedures
Have some pride.
in place
Yep.
for your people that
Yeah.
when something's on the floor, they don't
gets
walk
picked up.
over it.
Yep.
They pick it up. It's
Oh, yeah.
literally 2 seconds out of their time.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth it. Have a coherent message when people come in, greet people with a smile,
Yeah.
and have a good beer selection. Here's what I've thought about for many times, and I almost moved forward with it on multiple occasions. You don't even have to have your own brewery, but have a good selection of local brews. There's Gas City Brewery,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
Bad Dad, there's Guardian. There are a ton of places around us. There's
Oh, yeah.
Parlor City up in Bluffton. All you need to do is keep a few of them on tap on a regular basis. Now you are a tap house. Don't have to be a brew house. Don't have to serve mixed drinks. Just have a tap house with a wine and beer
Yeah.
license. You're selling very simple stuff, and it's got a cool vibe.
Yeah. That
It's
would be
not hard.
I would go there today.
And it's about $16 to $18 a plate.
Can't beat that.
I mean, you just paid that at stinking Taco Bell.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
That's
I mean, that's comparable to Applebee's. It's comparable to a Roadhouse, unless you're getting a real steak. And I mean, so be it. But anyway, yeah, I agree. You don't have to be.
It doesn't
You don't
have
have
to
to
be a
be
steakhouse.
crazy.
this does
No.
not have to be a steak.
No, it doesn't. We can have another steakhouse,
I mean,
and a steakhouse would do just fine here, I believe.
I think so too.
Especially if you got in with a farmer, a couple local farmers,
see,
and you got all your
this is-
beef from them.
This is next level right here. Is you're getting everything from the deli out.
Yeah.
It's a partnership.
Yeah.
Now you're
Nick
saying, hey,
Nick
oh, he's
Bonvillain.
killing it, man.
I love his meat. I refuse
too.
to buy meat from anywhere else.
Good. I'm glad you stopped when you said you were about to say you love Nick's meat. I'm glad you hesitated and didn't follow through there.
I think I was just gonna say I love Nick Bonvillain,
Okay, that's good.
but
But no, listen, it's make it simple. Stop trying to complicate it.
yeah, it doesn't need. Yeah, have you been into the store? If you
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
been into a store, you got to go in there.
I
That
love
place
that
is
place.
it's simple,
I-
and he's got some spices.
Yeah,
He's got some cutting boards that he sells.
nothing fancy.
Nothing
it is
fancy at
exactly
all.
what he says it is.
Yep.
It's
a meat market.
It's a meat.
Yep.
It's
He's
exactly.
selling eggs now. I
Right.
think he might even be selling milk.
So I mean, nothing complicated about
No.
this. It doesn't have. Why are we so? I don't know why we're hung up on. We gotta have a steakhouse in town. I'm not my dad.
Yeah, I mean, sure, I love a good steak,
I do
and
too.
I think it would go great here. But just any nice, if you put a good restaurant in here, people are going to pay,
Absolutely.
and they're going to tip.
Yeah.
And if you can get your waitresses some tip or your waiters some tips, then now your cooks are getting some tips as well, because you do tip sharing or whatever. And I know that when I drive all the way to Muncie, my minimum tip is $10 to $20.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
If I have a $50 meal, I'm tipping $20.
Yep.
And that's something that my parents definitely might, because my stepdad, he'd throw $3 out and walk out and be fine with it.
Well, he was buying a 15-cent cup of coffee, Steve.
Well, yeah, exactly. But even today,
I mean, I
he's
tip when I
still
get
only
an ice cream
he
cone out
still
of
only
out of
throws
the
$3
flip-flop.
to $5 on a $50 meal. And I'm not that guy. The Marine Corps taught me, no.
Right.
For your $5 haircut, a minimum of $1. And if the barber is really good, you're going to give him $2.
Right.
So I'm paying almost 1.5 times what I paid. So I've always had that mentality. If your minimum standard is met, then you're going to get the 18% or the 15%, or maybe even a little less.
Yeah.
But if if you had, I gave a girl a $50 tip one time
Dude.
because
Yeah.
she was phenomenal. I had just read an article somewhere that said, or no, maybe I had seen it on one of the social medias where a waitress said, I had heard that if you put your hair up in pigtails, that you'll get more tips. And she was like, I actually did. I got $20 more in tips. So could that be that I had more tables, or could it be that the pigtails were it? And so I was like, we went to Texas Roadhouse, and there's this girl, and she's got 2 pigtails. And I said, can I ask you some questions? And she was like, yeah, what do you want? And she sat there and talked to me for probably 20 minutes. And while she's talking to me, I'm entering in the kiosk thing and giving her a $50 tip. And I was like, look, you deserve this. I asked the lady, because it was the first time I had ordered ribs from Roadhouse. And I asked her, because I had just had some from Applebee's and they were dry.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like them, didn't even eat a third of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to that. I was like, are they going to be like you say? Your thing says fall off. So if they're not fall off the bone, you come get me and I'll have him remake you some. And then when she came out, I said, do you have any like wet naps? Because I'm about to get messy here. She goes, no. Next thing I know, she comes back with paper towel that she has gotten wet and shaken out and hands it to me. She goes, I couldn't find any wet naps, but here, this ought to do.
Right. It's just
And I was like,
it's
okay.
attention.
And then she sat there and talked to me when she could be off making even more money.
And God knows Steve is long-winded.
And I'm what?
Long-winded.
I am very. I think you're trying to tell me something. How long have we been here now? 4 hours? But yeah, I gave her a $50 tip because she was amazing. And I asked her, I was like, why'd you wear pigtails today? I said, I just seen something on social media that said if you wear pigtails, you get more tips. Is that true? She goes, I don't know. I'll let you know at the end of the night. I haven't seen her since. But yeah, I'm not afraid to tip. And people won't be afraid to tip.
They won't be. And they'll come.
Yeah.
It's a new building.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody just got to take a chance.
Somebody.
Simple. Keep it simple.
Doesn't have to be difficult.
What?
I like the whole idea of the street tacos.
Yeah,
You
man.
can do, and you can even have them. You can have beef, steak,
Yeah.
chicken.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
No.
It wouldn't be hard. Not at all. I think Roberto, is it Roberto from La Palma? I think he's listening. He's probably going to do that.
Go for it, man.
I love that guy. That guy's.
I've also had this, and I've talked about it not too long ago. I would love to have a man store, a man cave store,
Oh.
to where it's just cool
Dude,
stuff.
We need just a men's clothing store.
Right. I'll pay $20 for a cool T-shirt, something that is not going to end up like
Something
this.
that's not a Wrangler shirt with a pocket on the front.
Right, like this. I'm V-neck guy now
Yeah.
because my neck is too big to wear a crew neck that I
Right.
buy anywhere.
I'm a big and tall guy now.
You know, well, maybe that's what I need to move to.
Yeah.
So those crew necks, they cut me off, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
plenty of room.
but they turn into freaking bacon.
Yeah.
So, but if I had a decent one,
Yeah.
then I'm all in.
I'm all in. Yeah.
I'm all in.
Mm-hmm.
And if I went somewhere where it felt like I was there as a man,
Oh yeah.
I'd be all in.
Yeah.
But a lot of places
Don't carry any purses there. I don't want to see any merces.
Yeah,
I want to see men's clothes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and not that I don't mind going shopping with my wife, but
Yeah.
it doesn't give me the I want to hang out in here for a minute.
Yeah. No, I don't.
I'm looking for a chair.
Yeah.
The best thing a women's store can do is put a
chairs.
comfortable chair in.
Oh
there.
yeah. Yeah.
Put a comfortable chair.
I'm pretty fortunate. My wife doesn't like to shop anyway.
for
so
you.
I love it.
First thing I'm looking for is a chair.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it doesn't even have to be comfortable.
No.
It
Does
could.
your wife, I gotta ask you, does your wife start, say, at this corner of the store and then work her way out here and then come back to this corner of the store and fumble around over here and then go over here and then end up back over here and then back over here and then over here and do all that?
Yeah, and she gets something from each corner,
Yeah.
and then she has to go back and put it back. And then she'll get to the counter with an armful of stuff, and then go,
I don't want this.
I don't think I really know. I don't think I need this.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure it
not
wasn't just
you,
my.
dude. I've sit in the chairs enough to know that it's every woman, for the most part, that is doing. And y'all couldn't see him. His finger was going in circles because that's what's happening. They're circling every rack, And great,
Man,
that's what they're good at. They're foragers, dude.
oh,
It's in their DNA.
sure, they had to get those
It
berries
is.
somehow.
It has been passed down
Yeah.
generationally. Our job is to go hunt.
Yep.
And when I say I'm going to hunt,
It's point A to point B.
right. And when I get done,
Yep.
I want to be someplace. That's why my office, my podcast studio looks the way it does.
Yeah.
It's someplace where I feel comfortable in.
Sure. And this
And
is very comfortable.
I want to be surrounded by some things that are interesting, that make me question my own life. You know, I mean, there's the
How did
monkey
I end up
on the
here?
wall, like he's reading the newspaper, sitting on a really cool old box, and I'm like, man, that guy's got
He is
really
sitting-
good leg cross form. He's got, and he is reading the newspaper upside down. I mean,
Is it upside down?
It
I
is
can't see
upside
that.
down. Yeah.
That is awesome. I didn't even see that when I seen the monkey. I didn't realize he was
I saw that in a antique store down in Indianapolis.
really.
And it's just a print of somebody else, you know, somebody else's photograph. But I saw it and I was like, I've got to have it.
That is good.
But I've got a friend of mine that is an antique wholesaler. And I talked to him last year about the idea of him bringing his antiques in as a consignment.
Yeah.
And then the store would be there. The store would have some new items, some cool socks, good t-shirts, some cool logo stuff that is specific to the Chick Shack or whatever I called it.
Uh-huh.
And all this different. It's a man's store.
Right.
A lot of wood, bleacher material on the
Yeah.
walls, and dark colors, and comfortable chairs, things that guys like.
Yeah. You know, when
I just don't have the number one. I don't have the time,
who does?
and I don't have the disposable income. But man,
Nobody has that
you
anymore.
park that thing right next to that restaurant.
Yeah.
Got a little mini empire.
Oh man.
You know.
You know, cigar shop.
I heard there's one going in.
Is there really?
I heard that's what that funky building is across from the old John's, the Agbest gas station now.
That little Quonset hut or
Yeah. Whatever you call it.
yeah, I think it's Quonset hut.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Somebody said that's going to be a cigar store.
shop?
Interesting.
Interesting. I don't smoke cigars.
I don't
but,
either.
I mean,
But
if you're gonna give me a place to go lounge around and
right.
do nothing, I'll shoot the breeze. I'm sure I can find somebody else in there to talk to.
You know. And I hope it goes well. I hope they do awesome.
I do too, man.
I hope they do awesome.
You know, and I think I know I've told this story. Maybe not to you, but I had a friend that when we grew up next door to each other, and we started off as mortal enemies. We used to throw rocks at each other. There was actually a house that split the two of us. Now my mom's house and his house, because he's still living with his parents, is right next door to each other. But he married a girl from Raw, Montpelier, Ruby. I don't even remember what her last name was. Mason, maybe Ruby Mason. But they worked together at Hill's Department Store in Marion. They ended up getting married. They had 3 young boys, and they lived on State Road 3 in Raw.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was in the Marine Corps at the time, and I remember coming home and I stopped at his house just to visit because we were best friends after that. And I was like, man, why are you in Hartford City? Like, what is there to do in Hartford City? And he used to tell me, man, dude, Hartford City, they got a McDonald's, they got a Burger King, they got a this. And I was like, oh boy, they got a McDonald's, huh? And now, 20 years, not even 20, it was probably 10 or 15 years later.
Yeah.
I get the opportunity to be a police officer here in Hartford City. I had tried out for Hartford City. Then I tried out for Blackford County because I didn't care. I wanted to be a cop, and I wanted to be a cop here in this community. And then I moved here, and this was when Kevin Mahan was the sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
And from my understanding, it came down to me and a guy named Josh Ziegler, and Josh Ziegler got it. And then I got the Hartford City police job the following in 2005. So, the rest is history, and I have seriously fallen in love. And I got to tell you this, when I was a cop, I hated this place because it seemed to me like everybody was bad. And it wasn't until I stopped being a cop that I was able to open up my eyes and see that it wasn't the community that was bad. It was my vision of the community through the lens of my job.
Right.
But it also, everywhere I went, everyone was bad to me.
Yeah.
And so, once I got out of that mentality, this place, I love it. It doesn't get any better than this.
I can't imagine raising my kids anywhere else. There's only one other place I could have imagined raising my kids, but it's very much like Hartford City.
Yeah.
And
Was it Madison?
it was.
Yeah.
I've
You talk a lot about Madison.
fallen in love with
Matter
it.
of fact, I think your license plate even still says Madison.
It does not say Madison, but it does have a 29.
24,
29.
29. Yeah.
Yeah, it still has a Jefferson
Yeah.
County
Yeah,
sticker on it.
I seen that when I walked up. That's the old cop in me.
I've only
always
been
look at
here
that.
2 years. So
Yeah,
I've
I
only been
know.
back home 2 years. So
I hope you've changed your address.
on everything,
Okay.
yeah, everything's changed.
Okay.
I asked someone if it was a big deal about my license plate. They're like, no, it doesn't matter.
No, not your license.
County's on there.
No.
So
You can put it. You can just draw an 05 on there if you really
draw
want
an
to.
05 on there with a magic marker. I don't know, man. I love Hartford City and I'm glad to be here and I think there's a lot of great things happening. And the opportunity, here's what's interesting. For someone looking for opportunity to start something, to grow something,
It's like a blank page.
it's literally a blank slate.
Yeah.
We have a beautiful downtown of what remains there.
I don't know what was going on yesterday at Weiler Plaza, but there's definitely something going on there.
There's always something.
Yeah.
They've done a great job
Yeah.
of accepting that. Okay, we've lost some buildings,
Yeah.
but those buildings are now green spaces
Yep.
that are being utilized by the community for
Yeah.
community events. We have a very small amount of people doing a whole lot of things,
Yeah.
and I hope they continue to do so and keep that motivation
Yeah.
going for themselves because they're needed. They're important.
We need younger people to get involved
Absolutely.
in those things. Ashley, Ashley being a young person, and she does a lot,
Yeah.
especially with the chamber and things of that nature. But we need more young people to get involved and if I remember used to hearing, well, the old people don't want things to develop around here. Well, yeah, they probably don't. I mean, when I get to be 80 years old, I don't want my home to be surrounded by businesses. I want it to be nice and quiet like it is now. However, I'm just one person, and it's up to the younger generation to step up. Did you know that there's never been a Gen X president?
Huh.
And there has always been a natural progression of each generation moving in and being the president of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Gen X has skipped. That's why we have Donald Trump and Joe Biden in as presidents, because there's never been a true Gen X president that has been able to step up in there and make a run.
Boy, there's a few people where I'm like, man, I'd follow him. I'd follow her.
I tell you, I've been a Republican for a very long time, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I mean, for crying out loud, I ran for trustee as a Republican, and I believe, like people, at one point, I would consider myself far right because I believed that we should go back to the founding fathers. But then I started, getting into, well, what about monopolies and you get into the whole research, but researching and reading about the miners and how they had to fight out of their jobs. And so then you're like, okay, I can understand this law and why it was done. But I think our country has gotten too much. We've done too much with laws.
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing somebody saying at one time that if you read 1,000 pages a day of each federal law,
oh my God,
you wouldn't be able to complete it until like 20 or 30 years after you died at 110.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, I have a huge issue with that. But I at one point I was all in for RFK, who is a staunch Democrat.
Yeah.
But even he is like, I don't like the way these Democrats are. I don't like the way those Republicans are. So now I'm this guy in the middle. And I think he's obviously killing Trump and Biden with the younger vote. But I mean, we got to go somewhere that we maybe we don't want to be, because is Trump the answer? I don't know. Is Biden the answer? I hope not, because I don't think he can last another 4 years. And is RFK? I don't know, but we've got to go somewhere to change.
It's rare that I speak anything political on my show.
I know, but
And
I had to.
I stay away from it as much as I can, because I have the ability to piss off both sides and the
yeah.
middle if need
I
be.
agree.
And it's
Yeah,
because I'm an independent thinker.
Sure.
And I think that gets confused. People want to label.
Yeah.
They're so quick to label. Well,
yeah.
then you must be this.
You are
don't believe that.
leftist.
Yeah, you
Or
must.
you're one of those far right conspiracy theorists.
Right. And why does it have to be that? Why
Yeah.
can't I be an independent thinker
Right.
that has a belief that there's some good here,
Yeah.
there's some good here,
Sure.
and there's some bad here, there's some bad here.
Yeah.
And that's where I stand on issues. When something comes up, I don't know that I need to be the person that decides what is right for you as an American
Right.
citizen.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in the Second Amendment. I don't own a weapon.
Yeah.
I've never owned a weapon.
I own one.
I've fired weapons.
Yeah.
I have no problem shooting
Oh,
a
yeah.
gun and other people owning them.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't own one.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that I have to be against it.
Right.
Are there components that I'm like, here's what and I would have these discussions as a teacher. People would say, well, why do we need this type of gun or that type of gun? Why do you need a Corvette?
Good question.
Why do you need a diesel truck? Like, why if you are not
Why
someone,
do you need a car in general?
right? I mean, people shouldn't smoke.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. If we ban that,
Yeah.
what's next?
Yeah. What's next?
I mean, so I see both sides of it, but I also realize that we don't get to be against something so radically
Right.
that someone else can't be so radically against what
Right.
you believe.
Yes.
If you're going to be radically against something, you better accept the fact that someone else is going to be radically against you.
Sure.
And when they approach
Yeah.
you with that, or you approach that with them, and they speak their mind,
Yeah.
and you scream, First Amendment,
Yeah. Yeah.
you better be willing to hear them say First Amendment.
It's funny that you put it that way, because it took me, like, I didn't get into real hardcore politics until 2005, 2006. And that's when I really started listening and trying to learn and figuring out what was going on here, what was going on there. And that's when I became what I would consider far right, because I never felt that anyone should be able to tell me that I shouldn't be able to own any gun. If I want a tank, I should be able to own a tank.
Mhm.
And I still believe that. But I agree. There's going to be a lot of people on the far left who maybe they've actually been through a Sandy Hook or a Columbine, where they're like, no, you shouldn't have that ability. Because if these two, Dylan Harrison or Dylan Klebold and Wayne Harris, or whatever their names were, if they had a tank, or if their parents had a tank, you don't think that they would have just blown up the entire building? Sure, I can understand that. I can understand that. But at some point, you gotta look at root causes, like doctors. I haven't went to the doctor because I felt like they treat symptoms and not causes.
Interesting you say that, because I was just at the doctor the other day having something looked at, and his question to me was, what do you want to do?
Yes.
And I thought, holy crap.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How is that?
Yeah.
I've never heard a doctor ask me, what do you want to do?
What would you like to do?
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'd like to give it some time
Yeah.
so I can think about it.
Sure.
So, I think for me, I don't get overly excited about different issues because I don't know that they're going to last long enough for me to put that much effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
They don't, not
and
anymore.
and then once they are over with, I'm not going to continue to hold on to and refer back to it over and over.
Yeah.
I don't have the energy. Well,
Yeah.
wait a minute. I do have the energy.
Yeah.
I clearly have the energy. And if pressed,
Yeah.
I will use my energy
Sure.
to make an argument that
Mm-hmm.
is so far off of my own reservation just to piss someone off.
Oh
And I've
yeah.
done it and I hate that about
Yeah.
me. But I realize that sometimes people need to recognize or at least be confronted with the ridiculousness
Yeah.
of the opposite of them
Right.
to see their own ridiculousness.
Yep.
So I don't spend a whole lot of energy on some pieces because they're not going to exist long enough. I'm
Yeah.
going to outlast them. And was it really that big of a deal in my life
Right.
to continue to have that much energy toward it? It's just not.
I'll tell you, I couldn't stand Obama. Obviously, you know, there's a lot of people around here that are in the same boat. But it was in 2016 after Trump was elected. I used to listen to Glenn Beck all the time.
Yeah, I used to listen to Glenn Beck all the time before he
Right.
turned radical right.
Right. Well,
And he is radical right.
in 2016, he may be. I don't know. I haven't heard him since 2016. But in 2016,
Now you're playing me.
in 2016, he made a comment that kind of opened up my eyes, and that's when I stopped being so political. But in 2016, he made the comment. He said, "You know, Barack Obama wasn't as bad as I made him out to be." He said, and I believe that we have gone too far off the reservation, and we need to rein ourselves back in and realize that the people on the left aren't as bad as we think. The people that you live next to that are Democrats aren't all that bad, and you should just get to know them. And that's where I've been. Like, you know, obviously I beat out Chris Holtzleider for Licking Township trustee, and I know for a fact that she was upset at some one thing that I put in all of my mailers and things like that, and it was fiscal responsibility. Until I told her why I used that,
Mm-hmm.
and then she was like, "Oh, so that wasn't directed towards me?" And I was like, "No, it wasn't directed towards you. It was just something that I had to have. They asked me to have it, so I had to make up something." So I just put
Right.
it in there. I said, I thought I could beat you without doing any campaigning whatsoever because there was a shift in Blackford County.
Mm-hmm.
And so I rolled with it, and I ran against you, and I did win. And I didn't do any campaigning. The Republican Party did, but I didn't. And by the end of it, she was like, "Okay, I actually like you. You're a likable guy.
Right.
I'm sorry." And I was like, "Oh, well, you don't have to be sorry about anything. I mean, it sucks to go through this process.
Right.
And someday somebody's going to beat me out, and that's going to be the end of it. And that's fine. I won't hold any grudges."
The Scott Schick.
The Scott
Licking
shit,
Town-
Scott shit for Licking Township. Trust me. You want it? You can have it.
It's got a nice new desk.
Yeah.
Let's wait till we get some more furniture. in
Yeah,
there
get some
first.
more for yeah. Thanks to Kevin Mahan and Scott Schick and
I've
ER.
got some other ideas I want to throw your way.
Well, I can tell you, I've been working for a year to get a new building out there. And I don't know if you're aware of this or if you've driven down 26, but there is a giant excavator sitting in the driveway to go to the 3M Civil War Days Park.
Okay.
That excavator is going to be used to tear that cemetery building down next week.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's going to be gone.
Man, that thing is 60 years old.
Try again.
Really?
Yeah. Try again.
Wow.
Yeah. I would be willing to venture to say that that thing was built in the early 1900s, the original frame of it. Yeah, so it's over 100 years old. And I'll show you pictures once we're done here of some of the interesting things that are on the inside of it, as well as the holes in the roof
Yeah.
and the where you can definitely tell that they replaced the old wood with new wood to fix some of the holes and then didn't get it fixed. The window that's rotting out, the mold that's growing on the ceiling in the where we keep our records. And then last year I walked in there, it was hot, and then when I walked inside, the safe that was, I believe, purchased in 1895 was covered, saturated in sweat because of the temperature difference. So that's one of the things. But I've been working a year since March of last year. March of last year, this building was supposed to be tore down and put up within 4 weeks. And it's just been today that the state has allowed me to do what we're doing.
How much does the state cost you in waiting that year?
It hasn't cost me anything.
That's good.
Because
That's
I told the contractors, hey, listen, because they told me, they were like, if you get this done quick, it'll be cheaper because, you know, materials prices is still going up.
Right.
And I said, listen, I want you to bid this out as if this is going to happen next year, because I figured that there would be issues with, you know, either getting my board to approve it or finding the 3 bids or whatever the case may be. And so that's what they did. And just for a simple pole barn, it's $99,000. And not only that, but the state then requires me to get an engineer to design this building, which cost me an additional $9,750. And then on top of that, I have to pay a guy to inspect it.
Right.
And then I have to pay an engineer from AEP to determine whether my electric that I'll have in it after I've already paid an engineer is enough to cover what I'm doing with the building.
God bless bureaucracy.
That's the kind of things. So a simple building is now a very complex pole barn.
Right.
With a small storage unit for records that date back to 1895.
Man, with any luck, that thing will last another 80 years.
It should. It should. As long as it's taken care of.
That's something that when I'm selling furniture to schools, you know, I'm shocked at times at the cost. But then I start thinking, this is going to last. Think of the school furniture you and I had. You know,
we had it from the 60s.
So it's going to last 30 to 40 years. I was just talking to a principal about this the other day. It's pennies.
Yeah.
When you put it that way, it's pennies per kid
that
you're spending over that span of time. There's thousands of kids, tens of thousands potentially, depending on where you're at, that will butt in seat, you know, utilizing this piece of furniture over time. I don't know that I've had a couch longer than 5 years in the entire time I've been married. Like we own a couch right now that's in our basement over in Muncie that I think my wife bought maybe in the late 2000s.
Really?
Yeah. But we haven't used it since 2016 or something. Like it was in use for about 6-8 years tops.
And then it was done.
And then, you know, now it's sitting over there.
You know, it's funny.
It's a lazy boy leather recliner.
Oh, okay.
And it's sitting.
Yeah.
You know.
So my wife and I, first brand new furniture that we ever bought, was like 4 years ago. And we bought this really nice furniture from Dillman's, and we owned it for a year. And then Alexa went off to college and got her own apartment. Well, she obviously needs some furniture. So we gave her that furniture and bought new furniture. And now I told Peyton, I said, if you can move last year, I told him, I said, if you move out by December, I'll give you all this furniture. Mom and I will go out and buy some more because I want some furniture. I think I've seen you have some brown leather
I do have
downstairs.
some brown leather.
I want Dillman's had this brown leather that had wireless charging for your cell phone, cup holders, each side reclined. It had like 4 recliners and a 3-seat sofa and a love seat. And then I want a really nice leather recliner like the one I think I seen down.
They're not recliners.
They're not. They're
club
just
chairs.
yeah, something like.
So it's the same brand as that. They're all Pottery Barn. It's real leather. That one I paid a little bit of money for, but the ones downstairs I paid like $100 for them.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Pair.
Oh, really?
They were already a little dingy and dirty.
Oh.
You know me, man. Look around you.
Oh yeah, you definitely
Use cabinets.
You scrap
bleacher wood.
Bleacher wood is nice.
$5 chair.
How you paid for that?
I've got a pair of them. Yeah.
Did you have to clean it?
I had them cleaned.
You had them clean?
I've got like $80 in them.
That ain't bad.
No,
And still,
that's
and with this,
that's a
these
$1,200
two go together.
chair.
That is.
That's a $1,200 chair.
Is this like an old school office chair?
This came out of a hotel. So it's commercial.
Yeah, it's commercial office chair.
But I bought it from a guy who had bought out some stuff from a hotel.
Yeah.
When I bought my old desk that was here, that was an old hotel desk that I retrofitted for what I needed. But yeah, it does kind of go with that. I guess.
These two go together.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you had 2 of these,
Oh man,
or two of these, or 2 of those,
I've got 2 of those, but those aren't that. That's
if you had another one of these,
so I only last like an hour and a half in that chair.
yeah, I seen you get.
Man, that hurt.
But if you had 2 of these with that, because this and that go together, and that go together. I mean,
I've thought about bringing the ones downstairs upstairs.
oh, those club chairs.
So big.
Dude, if you brought those up here, I wouldn't be able to. I'd
They're
fall
so
asleep.
big.
I'd fall
They're
asleep.
huge.
I went to Connecticut last year and stayed in this huge house that I got lost in it a couple times, especially the first night I walked through it. But they had a theater room down in the basement with the really nice theater seats that reclined. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I fell asleep watching Band of Brothers.
I'm a used kind of guy. Like I like a little bit of
Yeah, you like the rustic.
I like a little mud on the tires.
Yeah.
You know? I like them a little patinaed.
Sure.
And I think I'm actually getting ready to give these to a former guest. Speaking of former guests, Marquise McQuinnan.
You got to have him back on with better audio.
Right?
I couldn't hear any of it.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear what he was saying. That's the only episode I haven't listened to.
Yeah.
I tried and I was like, I can't hear him.
We walked into their studio and he just real quick grabbed a mic, set it up in the middle of the room. He and I were sitting kind of like this, next to each other, and just went to it.
Yeah.
And
It sounded like you were in a cafeteria.
yeah, we just couldn't clean it up enough.
Yeah.
I'm sure with some time we could have, but that's okay.
He sounds like a really interesting guy, but
That guy,
because I've heard you talking about him on a couple other podcasts.
really
one
interesting guy. Just a kind soul
Yeah.
type person, and I'd love to have another conversation. He and I just talked yesterday about these chairs, but they're opening up a new building for his fundraiser, or his not for profit Project Paradise, and they're looking for some furniture. So I told him I'd be on the lookout, and that if we came across something that was decent, that was going to be thrown away or something, that we would find a way to get it donated to them, so they could just have it. But I'm going to give him this pair of chairs. I get the other one down the garage,
All right.
because I have to tell you about the rest of it. Steve,
It's been, I don't know how you're going to clean this one up. You're not going to be able to
I'm
upload
going to
it.
break it in 2.
That'd be a good one.
Episode 52, episode 1, and it's going to get split right down the middle. That's exactly
sounds like
what I'm
fun.
doing.
That sounds
Everybody, we've had way too much fun today. If you're still listening, man,
God bless you.
God bless you.
Yeah, you need help.
Thank you. And we're here to help, guys. We're here to help. All right. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you. We got a whole new season here, and I can't wait to share all my guests with you. It's going to be so much fun. See ya.